Ever feel like something's going on beneath the surface, like way down in places we hardly ever see?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, today we're diving deep, literally, into one of those places, the Antarctic Ocean.
Ooh, the Antarctic. Always a good one.
We're talking giant squid, colossal sharks,
Hmm.
creatures that make their shallower relatives look like guppies.
Now that's my kind of deep dive.
We're basing this deep dive on an awesome YouTube video, actually, from the channel Shem. It all starts with this story from 2003 where footage from an oil rig camera got out.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What'd they catch on camera?
What they thought was this totally bizarre, almost alien-looking squid. I mean, we're talking hugey, with these crazy long arms that have these, like, 90-degree bends in them, like elbows.
Elbows. That's wild. It's funny you mentioned that. As strange as it sounds, that kind of footage isn't completely out there. Scientists have actually been tossing around this idea called deep-sea gigantism for ages.
Deep-sea gigantism. So you're saying these deep-sea creatures are often way bigger than their shallow water cousins.
Way bigger. Think Great Dane compared to a Chihuahua, but in the ocean.
Whoa, that's a serious size difference. So is it just the pressure down there that makes them balloon up like that?
That's a common myth. Don't get me wrong, the pressure is definitely a factor. But it's more about how life adapts to the hardcore conditions down there.
Okay, so spill the beans. What's the deal with deep-sea gigantism?
Well, one leading theory is all about oxygen. See, under all that pressure, the deep sea can actually hold a lot more dissolved oxygen than we find up at the surface.
So more oxygen. How does that equal bigger creatures?
Think of it like this. Our cells are like tiny factories, right? And oxygen, that's their fuel. The more fuel you give them, the more they can grow.
Huh, that actually makes sense. But hold on a sec. Isn't the deep sea known for being kind of sparse when it comes to food?
You're not wrong. Finding a decent meal down there can be tough. And that's where another theory comes in. Being bigger means you can store more energy. So these guys can go way longer without eating. Like having a bigger gas tank for those long stretches with no gas station in sight.
Huh. I like that analogy. So they're like the camels of the sea, storing up energy for lean times.
Exactly. And get this, there's this crazy example, the giant isopod. Basically a massive pill bug, right? One of these guys was kept in captivity in Japan, and get this, he didn't eat for 5 years. 5 years.
5 years. Are you serious? I can barely make it through a workday without snack breaks. 5 years without a single crumb. That's insane. Okay, so back to the Antarctic. What makes it such a haven for these deep-sea giants?
Well, it kind of ticks all the boxes we've talked about. It's freezing down there, even way down deep, and those trenches carved out by the ice sheets. They create the perfect recipe for pressure and oxygen-rich waters.
The ultimate giant squid gym, basically.
You got it. Plus, there's this other cool factor, island gigantism. Basically, when a species gets stuck on an island, evolution does some crazy things. Like they can end up way bigger than their mainland relatives.
Oh, like those giant tortoises in the Galapagos?
Bingo. Now imagine the entire continent of Antarctica as one massive, isolated island. See, it's surrounded by this powerful current, the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. It's like a wall, keeping most marine life in or out.
A giant frozen laboratory for evolution. So what did the researchers in our YouTube video actually find on their Antarctic adventure? I mean, they set sail from Tierra del Fuego right at the bottom of South America. That's a heck of a trip.
Talk about a journey. And get this, even at 500 meters deep where there's zero sunlight, the seafloor was teeming with life. Soft corals, these bizarre sea spiders, sea lilies that look like something out of a fairy tale.
Wow, that's incredible. Anything else?
Oh yeah, they even found sea pigs.
Sea pigs. Hold on, are we talking like underwater truffle hunters?
Not quite. Think teeny see-through piglet, but with tentacles instead of feet just snuffling along the ocean floor.
Okay, that's weirdly adorable, I have to admit it. Did they find any normal fish down there?
Sure did.
Mm.
But even the fish down there have their quirks. Take icefish, for example. They've evolved to have see-through blood.
Wait, transparent blood. How is that even possible?
Well, most animals have red blood because of hemoglobin, stuff that carries oxygen, right? But in the Antarctic's oxygen-rich water, icefish don't need as much, so their blood is practically clear.
Evolution's so cool, always figuring out a workaround. Okay, so did they find any giants?
That's where it gets really interesting. At about 550 meters, they noticed something strange. The creatures were getting bigger. We're talking massive sea stars, some over 40 centimeters across.
Oh, that's huge. And I thought those starfish and tide pools were big. Anything else?
And the sponges? Some were taller than a human.
Okay, everything's definitely bigger down there. What about that mysterious squid from the oil rig? Any leads on that?
Remember how the footage showed those weird elbow-like joints in its arms? Turns out that was most likely a juvenile Magnapina squid.
A magna what now? That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi flick.
Right. They're called Magnapina squid, sometimes long-arm squid. They're super rare, and we know hardly anything about them, but they have these crazy long arms, like over 20 times their body length. And yep, you guessed it, they have those elbow-like joints.
Okay, not an alien squid, but still incredibly cool. All this talk about giant squid lurking in the depths reminds me of the Kraken, that legendary sea monster.
Of course. For centuries, sailors have whispered about this monstrous creature that could drag entire ships under. And for a long time, it was all just legend.
Until we started finding evidence, like those giant squid beaks and sperm whale stomachs.
Talk about a clue. Sperm whales love to snack on giant squid, and those beaks give us a glimpse of just how massive those creatures can get. But now, get this. Let's switch gears to something even more mysterious. Lake Vostok.
Ah, Lake Vostok. That hidden world buried under the Antarctic ice. Our YouTube video made it sound like a time capsule maybe hiding creatures that have been around for millions of years. A hidden world, frozen in time. Sounds like something straight out of Jules Verne. What could possibly survive down there?
Right. It's incredible. We're talking about Lake Vostok here, one of the biggest subglacial lakes on the planet, buried under, get this, over 3,000 meters of solid ice.
Wow, that's a serious chunk of ice. So you're saying this lake has been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years?
Exactly. So long that scientists believe it could hold the key to how life might exist in other crazy environments, like on Jupiter's moon, Europa.
Now, that would be a discovery for the ages. Okay, tell me more about this hidden world. What do we actually know about Lake Vostok?
Well, for starters, it's got unbelievably high oxygen levels, way higher than any other lake we know of.
Really? Why is that?
We're not entirely sure, but it's probably been building up under that ice sheet for millennia. And there's some evidence suggesting it might even have a geothermal vent system, kind of like those underwater hot springs in the deep ocean.
Geothermal vents. You're saying there could be a whole ecosystem down there thriving on volcanic heat instead of sunlight?
It's a definite possibility, which is why those vents are so intriguing. They offer a potential energy source for life, even without the sun.
Mind-blowing. Okay, but have we actually seen any of this? Has anyone actually gotten any samples from down there?
Well, back in 2012, a team of Russian scientists managed to drill all the way down to the lake.
What did they find?
Well, that's where things get a little, shall we say, mysterious. They haven't released a ton of information, but they did find DNA from a whole bunch of organisms.
A whole bunch? What kind of organisms?
That's the thing. Some of them were completely new to science.
You're kidding. Unknown life forms. This is incredible. Okay, I gotta ask, any chance we could find something truly massive in Lake Vostok? I
No.
mean, are we talking prehistoric Kraken territory here?
Now hold your seahorses for a sec. As amazing as the possibilities are, we got to remember Lake Vostok is still an incredibly harsh environment. It's not exactly a jacuzzi for giant sea monsters. I guess not. But a little mystery keeps things interesting, right?
Yeah.
So where does that leave us? What have we learned about the possibility of giants in the Antarctic depths?
I think it's safe to say that the Antarctic Ocean is a place of extremes. And where you find extremes, well, you often find the extraordinary. Those crazy high oxygen levels, those deep, deep trenches, and those unique evolutionary pressures. It all adds up to an environment where gigantism could absolutely thrive.
It really makes you wonder what else is lurking down there, just waiting to be discovered, right?
Absolutely. It just goes to show our planet is full of surprises, even in its most extreme corners.
That's for sure. And on that note, a huge thank you to our expert for guiding us through this incredible journey to the bottom of the world. And to you, our listeners, keep exploring, keep asking questions, because you never know what wonders you might uncover. Until next time.